Welcome to another edition of the Buddecomm Telecoms Files. This time I would like to discuss with you internet filtering and the intellectual property issues in relation to the internet. We've seen a lot of discussion taking place at the moment regarding cybercrime, the BitTorrent sort of file transfer issues in intellectual property, internet filtering such as taking place amongst other places in Australia. So what's the future of all of this? Now, very interestingly, I think, is the court case that was here in Australia in Perth, and it involved the ISP iiNet and on the other side the Hollywood Studios. And the Hollywood Studios argued that iiNet as an ISP provided a facility for illegal downloading of movies, and obviously the big service there in the background was BitTorrent. Fortunately, the Hollywood Studios did lose the battle, and iiNet was the winner of the court case. And I think what this really tells us is that the internet and the internet service providers and companies who operate as such, can't be held responsible for the content that's taking place over the network. It's very similar that the postal service is also not responsible for death threats that might be written in a particular letter, and that the postal service then deliver to people's homes, etc. That's not to say that the internet is misused by organizations, and that children are very vulnerable in relation to pornography and all sorts of other services. That on the other side, when you have content that needs to be protected, so there are lots of issues that are very serious and that need to be addressed, but they can't be addressed in the way that we've done it for the last 100 years, or in the case of copyright, for the last 300 years. So we have to start looking at what's the digital media, what's the digital economy all about. The organizations involved in that will have to look at different business models, will have to look at different technologies on how to actually do that. Obviously, far and far more education is required, particularly if you start talking about internet filtering. Yeah, obviously, again, that sort of services should be made available to parents, should be made available to the community. But in the end, it's the individual who has to make that decision, and not the government. In relation to intellectual property, you will have to start looking at different business model. The business model from the Hollywood Studios, where it first does launch a particular product in the cinema, then the next window, the next window, the next window. I think people want the movie now, yeah. And if you don't deliver it, if you don't do it on the customer's requirement, then you can do whatever you want to do, and you can call it a crime. But that's what people are going to do. So it's much better to look at your customers, work with your customers, and then build new business models around the digital media and the digital economy. That has to be the way forward. I hope that you enjoyed this particular session from the Buddecomm Files, and as always, I'm very interested in your comments and participation in your discussion. Thank you very much, and see you the next time.